Exactly 1 year ago today, historic rainfall devastated parts of southeastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin.
And now some officials are wondering if there could be better ways to protect their communities from the next time. News 8's Mel Meyer now joins us to explain in this News 8 investigation.
Mike and Martha, the Coon Creek Watershed spans more than 90,000 acres across portions of Crosse, Monroe and Vernon Counties. In that area, there are 14 dams that were designed specifically for flood control. But at the peak of last year's flood, some of the dams couldn't keep up, which is leading some officials to consider other options.
It's just devastating.
I didn't know it was going to flood that bad.
As the sun rose, residents were salvaging what they could.
Some of these homes will never be able to be lived in again.
It's around that time that Bob McKeel got the first phone call.
One of the landowners said his dam is gone.
Coon Creek 29.
When it gave away, it was devastating.
This dam is designed to handle 5.4 inches of rain over a 6-hour period.
What really is the issue is the intensity of the rain events.
It was record-breaking rain.
An initial line of storms in the early evening contributed to the problem.
And then overnight the rain just continued to fall on those same areas and resulted in the extreme flooding.
Steep terrain and wet soil conditions created rapid runoff.
And intense rainfall rates that really increase the flash flooding threat in this area.
The water pools behind the dam, only coming over top when there's too much water.
During that storm event, you'd be standing in about 6 inches of water.
The slope eroded away, kicking out debris downstream.
Ultimately, a town road blew out. Nobody could go down through here.
At first, the dam held back until
I think down here is where you're going to get your grasp of, holy crap, this is big.
It breached.
And then all of a sudden races down the valley floor, 15 feet high.
In all, there were 3 dams that breached and 3 that were damaged.
That is being repaired as we speak.
In October, Bob McKeel met with residents from the township of Portland to talk about what needed to be done.
The consensus of the townspeople was to go ahead with these repairs.
When the water rushed down, it moved foundations, blew out bridges, and eroded riverbanks. The price tag for this little township was hefty.
Real cost was over $1.15 million.
He says that's over twice the annual budget.
It affects a lot of folks downstream. It's for the safety and the well-being of the residents of Portland and also our neighboring counties.
The dams that had more minor damage were fixed this year, while the structures that breached will be stabilized and debris cleared away. Major repair work will have to hold off for now, because what if there was a better way to rebuild?
That's a good question. There's a lot of opinions out there on that.
Because while these dams were meant to last,
And they did. In 50, 60 years, a lot of them. But they've never been tested like this before.
Bob McKeel and other officials have proposed looking at the whole picture of the watershed.
The last one was in the 50s, with 1958 to be exact.
He's hoping a new watershed study with funding from the Natural Resource Conservation Service will provide insight into how to rebuild, and not just the dams, because this area is not what it used to be.
There's more building, more roads.
Farming has changed.
Today we're rotating farms.
More people using the valleys.
And as far as flood risks, we're putting people at risk if we allow that to happen.
And we need to prepare for more extreme rain events.
Something's going on, things are changing.
Maybe we need to, too.
We're never going to design to the storm events that are occurring now.
Instead, we need to be prepared for the future of flooding. He's supposed to hear any day now about the funding for that watershed study. If it gets funded, it would take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to complete. And then they'll be able to determine the final cost, feasibility, and the best way to rebuild. Mike and Martha?
Thanks a lot, Mel. This story is part of a series looking back at last year's flooding.
Now tomorrow night at 6, a look at the costs and also ongoing struggle to get funding for repairs.